Hey guys, how we doing? I'm still looking forward to this. I've missed all these videos. We're on another Raikage video. And I think this one's going to be a little bit difficult to call. This is Minato versus the third Raikage. Both known to be very, very, very fast ninjas. I feel like... I don't know whether we're going to be mentioning Sage Mode here, because obviously he never used it in the... Well, I don't know. Minato was capable of using Sage Mode, and if he was using Sage Mode, I think he would just do it, but I don't think they're going to do that somehow. I feel like the Raikage's got, like, physical strength, so if he was to get Minato, kind of got him, but Minato is just so fast and can, like, travel through his... let's get into this. This is Minato versus the third Raikage. Best intro ever.
How's it going, everybody? Raikage here. Welcome to today's video. Today, once again, got my buddy Clyde.
Yes, awesome.
Say hi, everybody. What's going on, guys? Bringing it to you live here. The topic should, I mean, you know, there's a fucking video title and thumbnail for everybody to look at. And this is a pretty difficult versus matchup. It's something that a lot of people have, it's something that I've been getting requested to cover for like a year and a half or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the reason I've never talked about it is because I don't know the answer.
Oh.
And Clyde and I have been going back and forth on this for like 3 days.
Really?
And we have no idea.
Jesus.
We've been going back and forth for literally 3 days.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
You guys are actually retarded, like you're supposed to be the Naruto guys, you should know this answer, but
come on, guys.
Just because Minato absolutely blitzes and shits on him in every single way, except the fact that he can't damage the third Raikage. He doesn't have any attacks that can damage the third Raikage.
Oh, right, okay.
So, but like, how the fuck do we do this? Also, the biggest issue with this whole matchup is that, so yeah, Naruto definitely did do it in Sage Mode, but he did it because he was told by someone who knew the third Raikage quite well that, hey, you know that scar on his chest?
He did it
got
himself.
That from attacking himself with his own strongest attack. Now, Minato, without that sort of knowledge, wouldn't have a clue how to do that.
He wouldn't know,
a headcanon ending to the fight. Like, we can't just be like, yeah, dude, he'll just do what Naruto did, but he wouldn't know to do that. He would just be like, oh, that's probably just a scar like every other scar I've seen on, like, fighters and in wars.
All over the place, like everyone has them.
Not really happening. What do you think on that? Because it does feel too much like headcanon if we were to just jump to that straight away. Because, as I said, Minato has no knowledge of what that scar means.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if Kishimoto were to write the fight and Minato had to win, then like he might pull some shit like that out of his ass, because Sasuke was approaching like bullshit tier smart in his fight against Deidara.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like he might have Minato be like, based on the angle between your left arm and the scar on your chest, I was able to deduce that the only way something like that could be inflicted upon you, since even my Mighty Rasengan couldn't damage you, the only way possible would be for you to hit yourself. So I made you hit yourself. And I mean, but that's only like a plot induced result. That's super
amazing.
Ex Machina. If we're being realistic here, I don't imagine that actually happening. He'll just keep trying to attack the third Raikage over and over. I mean, he might aim for the scar, but I don't think he'd realize that his end goal would be to force the Raikage to damage himself.
Yeah.
So another issue is, like, if Minato was to look at the scar too, he's probably going to assume this happened from some sort of legend-related thing, because he would be aware of the whole back and forth with the A-Tails, right? Like, that's something that he would know about.
Yeah, he knows the guy fought a Biju, and
he's probably like, oh, he could have got that as a kid. Who knows? Like, he's going to have no clue. Like, you would look at it as...
wouldn't straight away assume that he's done it for himself, would it?
A minuscule thing to pay attention to. It's the equivalent of being like, oh, third Raikage, you got a new haircut. That's really cool. That's nice. That really suits you. Like, he's not going to know. So that's why that outcome doesn't work. Because a lot of people are going to say, well, Naruto did it in Sage Mode with a, quote, fatigued clone. It should be easy for Minato, but that's not the case, because he had intel from a guy who directly knows him. Like, you know, if Kakashi was to give you every bit of information about Obito, like, you're going to have a somewhat of an easier time dealing with him, right? Like, you know,
if you just faced him without knowing,
bully him and stuff. But like, but with the third Raikage, it's literally just, no, it would never happen. Like, it's such headcanon to say that could be the outcome. So anyway, the issue we're faced with this now is, what the fuck does Minato have to damage the third Raikage? Because now people would say, well, what about he can cut the tail of the 8 tails when he fought Killer Bee?
Yes, his kunai could cut the tails of the 8 tails, like, sure.
Right.
The third Raikage tanked a Rasen Shuriken, and he was unaffected, not a scratch on him. And He's weak to wind. Lightning is weak to wind, so he was at an even greater disadvantage. It's like, say, you are a water-type Pokemon, and you get hit by Solar Beam, and it does 0 damage. Like, you know, like that's basically what happened here. And so I don't think anything that Minato has in his arsenal, like his kunai's not gonna pierce the lightning shield unless it has some like weird like chakra nullification properties, and you know, assuming that it does would be super maximum headcanon, especially because, I mean, like, it clearly doesn't, because Obito was able to, like, break one with his staff.
Right, so, yeah, so there you go.
You know, I don't see what Minato would be able to do. I think his strategy here would just be to try and ram Rasengan into the third Raikage over and over.
Just keep hitting him.
His alternatives include, like, the Shiki Fujin
the Reaper Death Seal.
Other sealing jutsu, but like, why would he use the Reaper Death Seal and kill himself, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
just to
maybe
beat him in
he
a
could
fight.
have Shadow Clones do it the way Hiruzen did the Edo Tensei first and second Hokage, but I think they were different because, you know, obviously Hashirama and Tobirama are way stronger than Orochimaru, yet Orochimaru was supposedly too strong for Hiruzen to seal, so, I mean, like, I don't know, it's really weird, and so that's why we don't know, because at the same time, the third Raikage can't hit Minato, right? Like, we both agree on that?
Yeah, 100%.
They both just be zooming around each other.
Flying Thunder God technique's instantaneous, it's teleportation, but the Raikage has physically better speed, doesn't actually... Sorry, let me clarify that. He is physically faster than Minato, but his Flying Thunder God technique absolutely shits on the Raikage's movement speed.
So they just won't be able to get each other.
That's debatable, because Minato was actually able to reach the battlefield, the Jubi battlefield, before any of the other 3 Hokage could. And now you could argue, because the third Raikage is a speedster, that he's faster than them, but I feel like Hashirama may want to have a word with him.
Yeah, isn't that, like, so disrespectful that his casual chakra movement is faster than a dude who's his entire, like, his that's his whole shtick. He's like, yeah, dude, I have a Super Saiyan ripoff form. Like, that's not even faster. But here's another thing I want to point out too. So the whole kunai cutting through the 8 tails thing, there's 2 issues with that. So one, that's not even full powered 8 tails. It's really just him whipping out one.
Plus, how does the kunai that's that size cut through a whole, like,
too,
thickness of it? Like...
People would say, well, he was going to use one of his kunais to stab the 4th Raikage, but at the time he was a lot weaker, so he was pretty much aware of that, like, when he was fighting him, and, like, yeah, the 4th Raikage's,
do you know what I mean? Like, the kunai's this thick, and the tail's that thick, and he just goes...
No, I mean, even
how does that cut the whole thing off?
Fucking compare. Like, a Chidori was able to breach it, and I mean, yeah, he didn't take any damage from it, but he was like, oh shit, you actually touched me with that. So, a Rasen Shuriken would definitely, it would be a bit of a problem for him. Not the third Raikage, though.
Well, so Sasuke is a lightning master, so he conducted the lightning.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, shit. Now, so the thing that Swag brought up before is probably the best point too. So if you're like, oh, well, the 8 tails and, you know, all these other feats, they're not really that impressive. Well, what about the fact where he took an off-guard attack that cuts you at a molecular level, which is also the same nature type that he's weak against, and it didn't do anything to him?
Yeah, and also, Kakuzu tanked a Biju bomb at point-blank range to the face. And I was from one of the weaker Biju. It wasn't from Gyuki or Kurama. It was from Matatabi, the Two-Tails.
The Two-Tailed
but
one, yeah.
Still, he tanked a Biju Dama to the face, no damage. And now this
pretty
is
damn
important.
tough.
It's not that he was slightly injured or scratched. He tanked a Biju bomb, no damage.
Like nothing.
The Rasen Shuriken killed him immediately by itself. Then you have the third Raikage tanking a Rasen Shuriken from a significantly more powerful Naruto.
Yeah.
Like, this Naruto
Sage
shits on the Naruto that fought Kakuzu. And the Raikage just like, what the fuck are you?
What's this?
You think this is gonna stop me, dude? Like, it's like...
That Naruto was able to, like, throw it like a boomerang and catch the same Rasen Shuriken back again. He's way... Also, here's something even worse to add to that, right? So he's taken an attack that he's weak against, and it cuts you to a molecular level.
Molecular level.
Edo Tensei Raikage. The alive one would be even stronger than that. That's insane.
Yeah, because the Edo Tensei versions are weaker, aren't they?
The best point in the Raikage's favor, just on the subject of the Rasen Shuriken. Madara Uchiha, when he absorbed the Rasen Shuriken, you know what he said? His words verbatim?
Too much energy.
Too much energy.
Yeah, there you go.
He went, too much energy. He could barely absorb it. Right? Like, Madara was like, yeah, this Rasen Shuriken shit is a bit too much, dude. And the Raikage was just like, what the fuck is this? He didn't care. It did nothing to him.
Dude, it nipped him. It nipped him on the arse. Like
or I dubbed my
also,
video
if
as
you want
"Ow,
to
my
misinterpret,
hand."
like the Madara thing, let's say people would argue that. Another thing you could add to that is, what if you just interpret it as Madara is saying, alright, that was somewhat impressive, wasn't expecting some random blonde dude to whip that shit out. Like, that's probably also what he was saying at the same time. It maybe, because people would be like, oh, you're downplaying the Renegon, but that's probably also what he was saying too. He was clearly impressed by it. He's like, come on, who
it's like, whoa,
whips out something like that? What the fuck is that? Like, he was like, surprised.
That was the only time he said anything that even remotely resembled a compliment, directed at the Allied Shinobi forces. So that was the first thing that they had that impressed him at all. Like, no matter how you interpret his statement, I think everybody should be able to concede that. After all of the other shit that they threw at him, like, Naruto's attack was the most impressive.
Yeah, he was like, whoa, okay.
That attack
I need
also
to use
is
the
at an
Rinnegan.
advantage against the third Raikage, and it still didn't do anything to him. Now, I feel like we've been going on about this specific point for way too long, but we really need people to understand that this guy is basically fucking invincible.
He is the biggest. So the biggest issue, right, is how do you quantify how strong his finger pointing attack is? And we can't do that. You can't do that because it wasn't stopped in the series. Now that's not to say that it's the whole X-axis bleed shit where it can shoot through anything, right? We're not saying that, but we just can't realistically quantify how strong that would be because it did pierce through his own armor, but it's like, well, how strong is it then? It's clearly above like the A-tails by a fair bit, like. And that couldn't even damage him. Also, the whole
I think it's safe to say that Minato probably wouldn't be able to handle two of them. So if the Raikage hits him at most twice, Minato is dead. You could probably argue that he could one-shot Minato with it, but let's just to give Minato a bit of a little bit of a hand job.
Yeah.
We'll say he can tank one, and then the second one is what will kill him. So even I don't think the Raikage could hit him at all because again, so you were saying that the Raikage's movement speed may be faster than Minato's, and I argued against that with the Hashirama thing. But also Minato, this is KCM Minato, so never mind. Maybe I shouldn't bring this up, but he does just blitz the shit out of Obito, right? Like he cuts his throat open before he can react with Kamui, at all. And again, that's KCM Minato, so it might not be worth bringing up.
He's able to react midway and turn and move the truth-seeking orbs between Madara and 8-Gate's guy. And those dudes were moving at some ridiculous ass speeds. They were bent in space and shit.
They were. They were bending space.
He was also way faster than Obito. And again, this was Kid Obito, but Kid Obito's still a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to be like, but you're a hypocrite, because you said in your Madara, Naruto versus Katsuki videos, Obito's not really a big deal. Well, Sage, Kyuubi, Chakra Mode, Naruto, and Madara aren't in this video, are they? So compared to Minato and the Raikage, Obito's pretty fucking impressive. And, maybe not compared to these two, but compared to most ninja, Obito's pretty impressive. And Minato was outspeeding him casually, so I guess his movement speed probably doesn't equal the third Raikage's, but I don't think it's dwarfed by it or anything. Again, it doesn't.
We should clarify. I absolutely believe that Minato could react to him. I was given the Raikage the benefit of the doubt because his speed is obviously pretty impressive. He was somewhat swapping hands with Naruto when he was in KCM, and then Naruto did use Sage mode because he was like, all right, well, I can at least predict every attack and I'll be able to react to him and stuff. So
that's another thing. That's another thing I was going to say. If Sage mode Naruto was able to move out of the way of one of his attacks while moving toward him at full speed, and that's also reaction speed. It's not movement speed, but Minato should be able to do the same thing without teleporting. Is what I'm getting at. And again, that's reaction speed. And Sasuke was able to do some similar shenanigans against the fourth Raikage, who he was obviously not faster than. So that doesn't necessarily make Sage Naruto faster than the third Raikage, but Minato is way faster than Sage Naruto, so you might be able to make the argument there.
People would also say they were like, well, that clone was fatigued, and it's like, well, that wasn't. There's two issues too with the Raikage. Remember, he was also trying to resist against the Edo Tensei, and also he's not even at full power, at all.
Yeah, he's not. So you got to add to it.
Between an alive Madara and Edo Tensei, and it's quite large.
He's not completely 100% focused on it either, is he?
Not necessarily downplaying if you're watching this video, because he's fighting against a fatigue clone, because the clone was still pretty damn quick, but the Raikage would be even quicker if he's alive, which would be the one that's fighting Minato. Now, we were also talking about this before we recorded the video. We were like, well, could he even use seals on his body? Because the problem with fighting the Raikage is you wouldn't have a chance to physically touch his skin. There's always going to be chakra separating your hand and his actual skin.
Right.
So would the seals even work? From what we know about that, he would have to be putting seals and throwing kunais all around wherever they're fighting.
Just the whole area.
In terms of all around the battlefield, not necessarily putting seals on him. I don't even think he could. Like, how do we go about that?
I don't think it's possible. As a matter of fact, if not for the fact that it had been established that all Minato has to do is be connected to a person's chakra to teleport them, I would argue that he wouldn't even be able to teleport the third Raikage because he's not able to make physical contact with him. But luckily for Minato, we know, thanks to the big scene where he and Naruto teleport everyone outside of Obito's barrier, that Minato only needs to touch somebody's chakra in order to warp them. So, that's good for him, but I don't see him putting any marks directly on the Raikage skin. And I mean, like, even if Minato does somehow manage to breach the lightning armor, which will take a good chunk of his resources, the Raikage can just substitute out, right? Like, as soon as he feels his chakra dissipate in a particular area around his body, he might be like, oh, I guess it's time to get out of here and set up a substitution or whatever. So, like we've been saying this whole time, I just can't see Minato hitting him with anything that would do any
This is a difficult match, isn't it?
So it's like his only options are sealing. And if we had seen Minato use any sealing jutsu aside from the ones he used to seal the Nine Tails in Naruto, then I'd be willing to argue that he might be able to, like, seal him away or something, but we haven't.
I guess all we can do is really, like, give him the benefit of the doubt and say, yeah, he can touch his body, put seals on him and stuff, like, in terms of the Flying Thunder God technique.
I don't even think we should, though. I feel like the only way to argue that he can win.
Well, this is the way I want to word it like this. I'm wording it like this because I'm like, well, so here are the other alternatives. We allow it so he can put the Flying Thunder God on his body, the seals, and then afterwards he uses a clone to seal his arms, and maybe he could, like, it will reduce his power so much that he can be damaged by one of Minato's attacks. But this is all headcanon. Like, we have no idea.
There's no way you could actually know whether that would happen.
In terms of stamina, he's going to absolutely shit on Minato. He could fight for 3 days straight against 10,000 ninja.
Yeah, no fucking food, no water, nothing. He fought against 10,000 people by himself, and I feel like he collapsed not from taking damage, but from exhaustion.
Yeah.
But they were fodder. Well, that
still
wouldn't
a long
actually be the
freaking
case
time.
because didn't he tell his squad to run away while he'd deal with them?
Yeah.
If they were actually fodder, would he really do that?
Yeah, he wouldn't be like, go on, guys.
The Persians at the end of 300, they were fodder.
If he was making sure they want to be alive.
There's fucking 10,000 of them, so it's a pretty big deal, you know? Like
10,000 of anybody's a big deal.
Yeah.
It is strength in numbers, and he did, regardless of what you're saying, in terms of, like, people replying saying, oh, well, they are, they're trash tier shinobi. It doesn't matter because he still fought for 3 days straight. They were obviously giving him a fair run for his money, and it took him 3 days to deal with all of them. If they were
if they were easy, it wouldn't have taken that long to kill them.
He should have been able to deal with them pretty quick.
Straight away, yeah.
The whole light speed scaling thing that people like to use with the Kages, like the Raikages very specifically, because it says in the data book, he should be able to just be like, dun 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 dun, all dead, right? But no, it
took 3 days and 3 nights.
At all. He fought for 3 days, so we can say stamina-wise he does shit on Minato. There's absolutely no competition there whatsoever. So here's where it becomes an issue. If Minato can't seal his arms, damage him with any attack, it's just going to be like a war of attrition at that stage. And then at the very end, the Raikage should still have chakra, and he should be able to finish Minato.
I mean, that's really what it fucking
comes
down to. Like, if Minato can't do clone Reaper Death Seal cheese, or he can't seal the Raikage another way, or he can't figure out that he needs to force the Raikage to damage himself, then he's probably going to lose. I mean, even if you add Sage Mode or KCM, like, I don't see it. I mean, maybe a QB Bijudama would be able to pierce the lightning armor, but, I mean, like, even if it could, which again is headcanon, and granted, it is well substantiated headcanon because those things are pretty fucking strong, but even if it could, the Raikage could just move out of the way.
Yeah, just move.
Like,
he's fast.
What's Minato gonna do to hold him down? Use shadow clones? Use his weak-ass shadow clones to hold down the Raikage? Yeah, good luck. The Raikage, a fucking tank of a human being, I don't think he'd be able to keep him in place. The Bijudama would just miss, and, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, even something like that, like when a Bijudama is basically irrelevant in a fight like this. Like, it's like, what is he supposed to do?
What are you gonna do? Yeah.
You know?
So even with the KCM mode, the issue with Minato is, well, how much stronger does it make him? Like, could he cut the Raikage with a buffed kunai at that stage? We don't know. I couldn't say that. I'd be pulling shit out my ass by saying that.
Well, KCM Naruto couldn't damage him, so I think it's fair to assume that KCM Minato... Well, the QB avatar is a lot stronger than Minato is physically, but I don't think it's strong enough to break through lightning armor that tanked a Rasen Shuriken. You know what I mean? That casually tanked a Rasen Shuriken, by the way.
Which he should have been
weak against. Being emitted by his, like, chakra was still, like, clearly visible, and he hadn't taken any damage. So it's like, it didn't even breach the armor. The armor was, like, unaffected, and the Raikage took no damage. It's like, so what kind of fucking attack do you have to throw at him, you know, to get through? I'm trying to think of something that Minato would be able to use.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's like, wow.
Biju mode, but nothing really comes to mind.
I feel like my Naruto knowledge is being tested. Like, I should have some answer I can pull out my ass. I just feel like Minato gets beaten
I can't
in
think of
terms of,
anything.
like, you know, chakra.
Not that I'm an expert or anything, but like,
then the Raikage will win.
Yeah,
after
like,
all the evidence has been placed in front of me in this video, I'm just kind of like, I don't know.
Or pretty clear-cut results, but this is just like, well, this fucking sucks. This is a pretty cheesy way to lose, but he just loses because he runs out of time.
Yeah,
like,
just can't keep up with him.
Literally, the fucking runs the clock down. It's so shitty, but I think that's probably what would happen.
Yeah.
I guess, like, as I said once more, so you guys, you know, get convinced, the alive Raikage that Minato would be fighting would be a lot stronger.
Yeah.
Like, that's also another thing. So any comparison feats against the Naruto clone, like, don't downplay him because he would be actually way stronger if he was, you know, alive, and I'm sure faster too, and so on. Like, everything else, all of these abilities would be a lot stronger than they were. So, like, anyway, I'll end off my part of the video. I'm siding with the Raikage. I think that he does win, which is
seems that way.
To think. Like,
just because he can.
Would you have thought about that
fight
before
for
this
longer?
video? Like, it's such a weird thing to think.
No. Before we started, I was like, Minato's probably going to take it easily. We thought the video was going to be like 10 minutes max, and we were going to have to stretch
I'm a huge
it out.
Minato fan, so I'm just kind of like, but
Minato
seems like
doesn't really have anything at his disposal that he can use to damage the Raikage. And I mean, you can argue all day the whole like you can take stuff from the data books if you want, but if you've watched my videos for a while, then you know that I don't like using the data books because they say some pretty weird stuff, like Sasuke being stronger than every member of the Akatsuki, or Amaterasu being as hot as the sun,
which
you
is
know,
pretty intense.
Thing in the sky, the thing that's emitting heat so strong you can feel it from here, 93 million miles away.
There's definitely some inconsistencies with the data book for sure, which I'm sure Swag, if he made a video on, you guys would love, because there's a lot.
That would be great. That'd be really good. I'd love that actually. That'd be so cool.
You know, I could sort of argue the whole
break down the data books. That'd be awesome.
In terms of scaling the series, it does sort of work, so it can be referenced, but there is a lot of really fucking flimsy shit in the data book, so it's very, very inconsistent. So yeah. Anyway, what's your final answer? Who do you think wins?
I guess I gotta go with the third Raikage. Oh, fuck. I know. Look at me being an Uchiha tard.
Minato is the Uchiha? Oh, actually? Come on, he's conceding that the Raikage would be his favourite character, or one of his favourite characters. Come on, people. Anyway, is that all? I think I'm pretty much done.
Yeah, I mean, that's really all I have to say, so... Yeah, also go subscribe to Clyde. I'll put a link to his channel in the description.
He's a good dude. He's a good
dude.
dude.
Thanks for having me on the video.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate it, dude. Till next time, talk to you guys later. Raikage out. Bye.
Cool. Wow. Yeah. Can't really argue with that. I mean, none of them could hit each other. And then you've got one guy that could fight for 3 days, 3 nights straight, and the other guy that probably can't do that. The guy that fights for longer is gonna win. Yeah. Makes sense. That was a good video. I like how they couldn't decide for ages in that video. It's just like, oh, come on. Choose a side. Swag didn't even want to go with that, did he? He was like, I guess it's going to have to be. That was boss. I'm so glad I'm back on these videos. Like, the 2 weeks where I wasn't doing any, it was so painful. I'm waiting for this laptop, and now I'm just like, yay. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. What did you guys think of that? What did you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you want to. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys. It's all you guys next time.